accelerated after Graceland, Paul Simon's Graceland record that won Grammys, multiple Grammys, correct? And that was your. I mean, that's really where you came to America and blew up. Now everybody knows you as Bakithi, and you're just you're one of the most sought after session and touring bassists.
Well, Nick, thank you for having me and everyone. And yeah, man, I tell you, this has been the greatest experience from the beginning. From started when I was about 12 years old and to this point. And but everything was about just every day different and every day just better and better and better and better and better. And also to the challenges, I was faced by challenges to really deliver because playing on that Graceland, it just kind of got an attention, the world. So now the pressure was on me, like, how are you going to deal with that? You played the recording now, you got to be live and do this. And so for me, it's like the pressure, I like it.
Hmm.
I like the pressure because it makes me better. Then I know that I have challenges ahead of me. So I got to just stay ahead and, make sure that accept the changes and the challenges and learn as I go. Because also
Sure.
playing on that project, I mean, I couldn't even speak very well English like I do now. So it was a lot of things like not just the bass, but just about learning communication. I mean, just like it was a lot of challenges, man. I tell you. But I had to move forward and say, look, this is the opportunity that I was given. So what should I do with it? So
Yeah.
I got to every day I sleep and think about it, and end up on the big stage, man. On the planet.
There's nothing like that, right? Did you have any idea? So you were born in South Africa, and raised in South Africa. By the way, I have one of my best friends out here. He's from South Africa. He told me to tell you "eta eta ola,"
Eita,
which would
eita, hola, bro.
shop shop.
Sharp.
He we always enjoy some biltong over a brandy and coke whenever I'm with him. But
Mhm.
uh, he sends his love to you. Did you have any idea what you were getting into when you were coming to America to record Graceland?
Well, you know, um, I had no idea. It was about for me just be open to learn and learn. Just learn to be disappointed and just really take what everything has been given to you and say, okay, look, I can do this, I cannot do this, and if you cannot do this, then it's either you out or you in. So, but I mean, it was something that I had to really raise and teach myself because I've never been taught, because everything coming from the township, I had to go and look for the bass, look for the music, and look for the bands, so I can do what I love to do. But everything was about really learning every day,
Mm-hmm.
learning. And I remember when I was on the first plane from Johannesburg to New York, my goodness, it was scary just to be on the plane for 17 hours, first of all. It's like, man, I'm flying. Yeah, I can't believe this. Because when I was a kid, I look up, then I see the planes flying, and I'm like, how they do that? Now I'm on the plane. And everything was changed, man. I mean, like in the business class, and just everything was so beautiful. And I said, "Wow, America, wow." And it just got better, 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 and better. So when we arrived in JFK, man, I could not believe it that I was in New York. I mean,
Yeah.
looking at the records in South Africa, and I was like, wow, New York. I mean, this place. First of all, I thought New York was the whole America until I started to travel to go to Idaho and
By the way, so do New Yorkers. They think that's the only thing in America.
yeah, and I mean it was unbelievable. But as a kid, I wanted to see that happen, but I trusted the bass that the bass will carry me all the way, and it did because of playing on some project in South Africa that end up in Paul's hands, and
Wow.
and then give me the experience to see the world, and man, just unbelievable.
And then since then, it's been a, speaking of an airplane, you just took off at that point. You were brought to America because of Paul Simon's Graceland?
Yes, my first
Wow.
trip from Johannesburg to New York, it was to finish tracks or record some more tracks in New York for the Graceland album. And then after that, we went back home. And then about a few months later, I'm in a cab in Johannesburg, and I hear Call Me Ali's playing on the radio, and then I was going crazy, and I was dancing, and I was like, telling the people it's me. They look at me like, get out of this, lying. I mean, like, because I was so excited, and the cab driver almost, smashed my forehead because the way he stopped the car when I was so excited, the song is playing. The brakes so hard, and then I just almost hit the window. And he
Oh,
says,
that's so
"Not
cool.
me." And I said, "Yeah, that's me, man. See me now or see me no more, because I think I'm gonna be out of here. If I can get another bass player, I'm gonna be that bass player." And then the next thing, I got a call to say, "Look, hey, we're putting everything together to go to England and practice, for a few months in England."
Mhm.
Okay. So I knew that, okay, now this is it, man. This is it. And so I just went with the flow, you
Let's
know.
talk about your upbringing in South Africa. You worked as a mechanic to support your mom. I mean, how did you get from, growing up in your village to then like playing bass, and then I'm sure you were out on the road in South Africa performing. What led you to a bass guitar?
Well, like, because my uncle and his band, they used to practice at the house, so I kind of got very interested in the music.
Hmm.
You know, watch my uncle and his band, and then sometimes my uncle would take me to his wedding gigs and to perform, and then just got involved with his music. And then the next thing, his bass player got a little bit of drinking, and then so I had to take over the bass, kind of get my hands on, and I kind of like that, and especially people, they dance, and they love what I was doing, so I kind of took that very serious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then since then, and I was looking for the base in the township, but also my family was kind of like broken because there was so much problem at home. I had to run away and stay with friends, and stay
Hmm.
with musicians and feel safe. And it was crazy, it was chaotic, and of course the system too was another problem. And
Yeah, you grew up in the '60s in South Africa, which was really the start of apartheid. And what, like, were you allowed to travel? What was it like to grow up in that atmosphere
oh
in
no,
South Africa?
I mean, during my time from, let's see, I was born 1956. By the time I think I was about 10 years, that's when I started to see it.
Hmm.
Because, when you go to the city from the township, then you see the different. Then, oh, the city now, this is really different. This is not like South Africa. It's not the village. It's the
Yeah.
city. So there's different rules, and then of course, like in the township, it was chaotic. People running, and I was a kid. They didn't chase very much because they wanted the older people, and it
Hmm.
was a lot of problem. People getting arrested, and then it went on until 1976. 1976, and then there was an uprising
Hmm.
that started everything, and then it just went really crazy. And I lost a couple of cousins during that
Wow.
time, and it just got scary from there. Like 70s up to 79. You know, really, really, really hard. But and then my mother was getting sick, and then so I'm looking for a job, and just confused, but never leave the music because I always keep the music as a backup. Like I don't find a job, then I gotta go hang out with musicians so I can get cigarette and all the bad habits. Like, you know. But and then just like playing ping
Hey
pong.
guys, I'm recording. Sorry.
Just
Sorry, I just had to
playing
yell
ping
something.
pong.
Uh, so yeah, in '76 the riots began. I mean, was music an escape for you?
Music was a great escape for me,
Hmm.
because that's where I find my comfort. I forget that it's a struggle at home. I haven't eaten 3 days, and but the music is just like something that really just kept me going.
Where did you get your first bass guitar?
Now, um, playing with different bands, because what happened in South Africa, the owner of the band owns the instruments as well. So you just show up there and play whatever they give you. You know. So I used to do that, and then but when you leave the rehearsal, you don't have a bass to practice at home. So now when I have gigs, I go to the music stores. Like if I have a gig in 3 days, then I go to the music stores and practice the bass because I know they are gonna have the bass at the gig.
Hmm.
So I practiced a couple of basses at the music store until one time this guy he comes to me as I was playing the bass. He says, "Listen, you always come here and we watch you. You come here a couple of times and you play the bass. You never buy anything. What's up with this picture?" And I said, "I don't have money to buy the bass now, but I'm still practicing, just to see which one I like. And when I get money, I'll buy it." And he says, "No, you cannot play these basses now anymore. Go play that one." He pointed the fretless bass, and then I went to play the fretless. Fretless, I sounded terrible. It was so bad that, and I said, "Oh yeah." And then he says, "Yeah, you can play that one. You can break it. Nobody cares because nobody wants to play it anyway. So that's you can practice with that one." So then I practice the fretless. Man, I'm trying to understand this instrument and I'm trying to do things that I do with the fretted. It just wouldn't work. So then I go to my mother and say, "Listen, just give me some money, please. I want to buy this bass." The fretless. My mother gave me the money, and then I bought the fretless, $100. It was the cheapest bass that was available. But then buying that bass, I got myself kicked out of the gigs because people they're not familiar with the sound of the fretless.
Sure.
Tunation was so bad that when I play, I'm out of tune. The singer hold the ears like something is wrong. Then they turn around, they look at my bass, they said, "Yeah, it's you because your bass doesn't have the line." And I said, "Oh yeah." Then I find out, no, this is not good. So that's when I started to go to the villages, like I go to Lesotho to play
Hmm.
with the traditional people to find my voice of the fretless. They play like springbok horn or deer horn and accordion and dancing and like rubber. They put a tire tube around the oil drum and then play and make some music. And the fretless just perfect for that.
Yeah.
So then,
And you were teaching yourself. And by the way, I have to apologize to all the viewers. I thought I was muted whenever I yelled out. I was not. Sorry about that, everybody. That's the benefits and downfalls of doing a live podcast is you see everything. And so you were teaching yourself. You weren't taking classes or anything to teach yourself.
there was no school for me. It was about
Wow.
like if you see somebody play good, you just kind of hang in and you just pay the guy to watch him.
Hmm.
Sometimes buy him a cigarette. Hey, so you keep because you will never like you to hang out and not pay your dues to be around. I just travel with a pack of cigarette. I don't smoke, but I can to the guy. Hey man, I like the way you
It's a
play.
currency.
And then I just learn, and like every township was just loaded with music. Even if there's no instruments, but people they will sing beautiful. And for me, it was like that's what I need, man. I know it's chaotic with all the stuff that's happening, but the music is beautiful. Every culture, even though I don't understand what they're saying when they speak, but they're my people. We wake up every day together. It's just that communication is kind of slow, but
Sure.
musical is it's good. I don't even have to talk to them. I just play their music, and so I just learn. So
And
yeah, I did teach
the
myself.
how did you when you started touring, what was touring in, because you were playing like Zululand, what was it like to tour around South Africa? Did you, like, in America you'll pack into a Sprinter van when you're up and coming, and it could be a grind on the road, but what was it like for you growing up?
It was crazy. It was crazy. I've played hospitals and I've played schools. in Zululand, and without getting paid, just to watch people dancing and
Hmm.
just enjoy being a musician without getting paid, and sometimes prison, or but it was a learning process, because if you don't do that, then you're not just gonna jump in and be, you got to start somewhere.
Hmm.
And then also the stress, because everybody's away from home, and then we got stuck in Zululand, and man, the hunger, the angry. There was one guy, he was just walking around with a knife, and it just to if somebody piss him off, it's gonna be a problem. Because he misses home. So we all miss his home. It was a lot of drama, but we had to stay together, and try to play the songs together. But then it just got worse and worse and worse. Because I was in Zululand for about 16 months, stuck
Hmm.
with band, lack of food, just everything. But I gained practice, because that's the only thing I can do all day long. Practice. And after that, went to Zimbabwe, same stress, but I
Wow.
knew I was moving forward.
Hmm.
And then when I came back from Zimbabwe, I was starting to get sessions to play with the traditional people, and then travel back again. And now I'm playing with like really top musicians like Ray Peary, Stimela, and Sanko Morte, like famous groups.
Sure.
And then my life just got better, and then also I spent a lot of time in the studios, sleep in the studios sometimes, because I can't go home. If I go home, I might not. It's crazy. So I
Hmm.
just stay in the studio so I can wake up and
Wow.
do my work. But it was a sacrifice. I sacrificed my family, and then I took chances, and then I even went further with this. When I played on the Graceland, I ended up in America for 30 years now.
Hmm.
I mean, for me, it's about the journey. It's not where you come from. It's about where you're going. You
Hmm.
and I just took that with me all the way. That I'm still traveling.
Hmm. And was there a like paradigm shift? Because I know you grew up on traditional music, and then at some point you were introduced to like the Weather Report and jazz fusion, and those incredible like Jaco and Alfonso. That like
Yeah.
those incredible bass players. How did that like did that completely
But
change how you view the bass?
before that, there was a group from United States that came to South Africa, and they were looking for a bass player who can slap. Because now I've been listening to like Brothers Johnsons, and Larry Graham, and just like Stanley Clark, all that slapping technique. So I kind of work on that. So now I got a call to play with those guys. The name of the group was Realistics.
Hmm.
Three singers from the States, and they took me all over the place, and I played for them, and playing all the four top songs, spinners. Because in South Africa, that music was is what the radio station was sold to us.
Mm.
Not much traditional music, but it was more like British and American music.
Mm.
So for me, it was like, okay, just find the bass and listen, and without see it written, just listen, and then sometimes you just drop some notes that don't belong there, but it's okay, minor to the major, whatever. So I stay with that, and eventually somebody also introduced me to like Weather Report,
Hmm.
Jaco. And first, we had so much argument about what Jaco was playing, and I thought he was playing trombone or some some kind of thing, but excuse me, it was the fretless. But then I said, I have that same bass, but how come I get this sound? So that's when I started to pay attention and to listen to Weather Report. I couldn't play anything like him, but
Yeah.
just the tone, closer to that. But finally, I got my tone on for the Graceland, which
Hmm.
is it's a little similar, but my tone is much thicker tone because of
Hmm.
the type of music, you know.
the
But
the incredible thing to me about you and people such as yourself is that you like this sound that you now have. Like there's a Bakithi sound and style of playing bass. You came up with that. That was all you. And I know that um, you had told me before about people were picking, people were slapping. You kind of, brought it on yourself to realize that no, I could do a lot of magic with just finger work.
Yeah, it's you put things together,
Hmm.
because I mean I learned everything without videos. There
Hmm.
was no videos back then. It
No
was
YouTube to teach you how to do
no
something.
YouTube. No, you just listen and try to like really use the ear. That's why sometimes for me my feel is much better because I can hear, I can even hear the song where it's gonna go before it goes there because of my ear is really connected to, with the instrument. That means I know the song
Hmm.
because it's not written, but because my feel is right for it. And also too, I mean, I did a lot of practicing and just learning and wore the tape out. My uncle one time almost killed me when I took his record and practiced, and then thing is starts skipping, and he says, "I know who did that. It's you." when I get you know, when I get paid, I'll buy you another one. So
Did your family did your family support, like when you were going to America and you were really committing to a career in music? Was that something that everybody around you supported, or was it
no, man, no,
no?
yeah, I just did it on my own, and I left everybody. I left my family because
Mm,
for me, I couldn't explain this to them because really, like they came from the struggle, and then now hear me come and I'm getting a good opportunity. So my best thing is to say, look, I cannot make them sad, but I just disappear. When
mhm,
I disappear, there was some other feelings that I was gone. I'll never come back. But then, when I come back and help everybody because I couldn't
mhm,
explain. That's why I couldn't even stay at home because it was so difficult to deal with people that they're dealing with the trauma, the stuff that happens in the past, the system, and then me, and I see things different now. Like, hey, look, this is almost the end of this apartheid thing, but I don't want to be the leftovers and then struggle to move forward. I want to be part of moving forward,
mhm.
as we're making changes. And we played in Zimbabwe, 19, I think it was 1989, and then they would talk about Nelson Mandela coming out of the prison, and which is something that we were all hoping to see that happen, and it happened, and we played in the place in Zimbabwe where people came from all over Africa, all colors. I mean, it was the scariest thing. Like, wow, the change is here. So I mean, for me, this is, I'm thinking about my family that they went through a lot of stuff, and now I'm standing in this bigger stage. I mean, like, this is something, it happens to different generations. My uncles, they struggle, but for me it was much better. But it's a whole different thing. I took chances pretty much.
Mhm.
And I said I want to learn and I want to know the world, and I want to, this is me. It's about me now.
Wow. That's incredible, man. And again, if you are just joining us, this is the Best in Craft live podcast brought to you by Ultimate Ears and Blue Microphones. My name is Nick Marzock. We are sitting down with the legendary bass player Bakithi Kumalo. And Bakithi, I mean, we have to have you play something. You have a bass in your hand. You're itching. I could feel it.
Yeah, and this is a Kissel bass, which is they building me a fretless now.
Mm.
And I love this thing.
Man, it's just awesome watching. It's awesome watching you. You can tell there's so much. There's just a lot of love and history that goes into what you play, and that's your technique. It's you're truly influential to a lot of bass players. So again, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
What were the Tell us the craziest things that might have happened on tour in like Zimbabwe or in Zululand, where there's shows that were there sh- were there shows that just made you think like, holy heck, what is this world that I'm in now?
Yeah. Well, I would start with some stuff that happens back in South Africa in the past. 1982. I think I still remember that. Um, we had a band called Varukweru, and the band was my cousin, Vusi Kumalo, plays the drums. He's an amazing, phenomenal drummer. He played on the Graceland as well. And so me and him, we were like controlling the band and, make sure that we learn the good music and we give the guys the difficult songs. Sometimes if they can't play, then they fire it. We get another guy. Just like really now that we figure out the music. So um, then we put the band together. We start learning all the Earth, Wind and Fire stuff. Commandos, George Benson. All the pop songs that was playing on radio.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned that. And so we got hired to go to Zimbabwe. So we drive to Zimbabwe, like 9 hours or so. Then, great, it's exciting. Zimbabwe, it's like, man, being in Zimbabwe was like being in America because everything is like 24 hours. Just had they are independent. For us, we came from like, the township struggling really hard running away from the police. Now we're coming to Zimbabwe. It's nice. We like drinking tequila. We don't know what the tequila is. What is that? Okay, moonshine. I take it. So and then we play the gig. So once we play the gig, and then the owner of the club, the man went out, and then his wife, because she likes the song, the Earth, Wind and Fire, she start dancing, and then she danced with the singer as the singer is holding the microphone and singing.
Uh-oh.
If he was Reasons or some, one of the beautiful songs from Earth, Wind and Fire. And the guy showed up again, the owner. Man,
Oh, dancing with the owner's wife.
yeah. Because he's never seen anything like that. Like, a guy from the township to dance with the owner's wife? No, that's not going to happen. So the guy just pulled the plug, and then he was going crazy, and the wife tried to stop him, and he pushes the wife. So I knew that now we have a problem. It's either it's gonna kill us or call the police or something. So we got us, very nervous, and so we unplug everything, and then we went to another part of Zimbabwe, where the band just stayed for now 8 months. And as soon
Wow.
as we get to that place, two musicians they just went crazy, and then some of them they met the ladies, and they moved out from the house there where we were staying, and they just took off all over the place. And I knew that now this is going to be really hard, and we don't understand the language also too. And the band now is broken. But for me, I had to look for the musicians because when you always see musicians, there's a little comfort. They know
Mm-hmm.
the area, and if you play good, you know they give you the respect.
Yeah.
Because I was playing like American style and I can slap like crazy, so I can take somebody's gig when I'm really desperate.
Mm-hmm.
Zimbabwe, so I hang out with the kids in Zimbabwe, and then they take me to places, and then I end up playing with some bands in Zimbabwe for that 8 months, learning the Shona music.
Mm.
The music that really I never had a chance to hear in South Africa because during that time it was very difficult. The radio station was controlled by the government.
Mm.
But man, I learned this Shona thing, and after the 8 months, then I go back home, and I was saved by a producer, Weston Goes, who worked with Ladysmith Black Mambazo.
Mm-hmm.
And so West he has a family in Zimbabwe, and also he was looking for me in Johannesburg, but he didn't know where I was. But then when he goes to Zimbabwe, he find out that I was in Zimbabwe. He bought me a ticket, put me on the plane from Zimbabwe back to Johannesburg, straight to the studio, and then I stayed in the studio for a week to record a bunch of stuff with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that my life is changing now from Zululand to Zimbabwe, and then now I'm in the studio, and then the Graceland. 3 years later, then
How did you get connected to Paul Simon? What was the connection?
it's the
How,
songs that I played on the traditional, on the Graceland album. They end up in Paul's hands, all the traditional songs. So the producer who produced that group that Paul liked their music, he invited me to say, "Hey, look, you played on the record, so here's the opportunity. Paul is in town," and I didn't even know who he was, And but I remember one time when they called me to come to the studio. I was now working as a mechanic. So my boss, he says, "Look, you just got a phone call that they want you to come to the studio. Paul Simon is looking for you." And I was dropping stuff because I didn't know who Paul was. And I thought, this is the English name, Paul Simon. I've never had, like, this sounds like trouble. Like I'm like shaking. And the guy says, "Relax. What did you do?" And I said, "Nothing. I mean, I don't know. Paul Simon, who's Paul Simon?" Starting singing the songs, Mother and Child Reunion. And also, he said, "Paul from Jamaica, Queens." And I said, "Oh, Jamaica is the Rasta guy," because I know the Mother and Child Reunion is the Rasta song. "Oh, yeah, Paul is a Rastafari." He says, "No, that's not a Rasta. He's Jamaica, Queen." In New York, in Jamaica, Queens. I'm confused. I don't know anything about Jamaica, Queens. I'm from the but I took chances. I took my fretless without a case, and I show up in the studio, my greasy hands and my pants, and I look like I just came from a garbage can or something. I mean. And then I show up and I see Paul with a bunch of people in the studios. But and Paul is like, "Hey, you the guy who played on the demo, and we like that. And so stick around. You need a case for the bass." Right away. Put me a case for the bass, and I'm like, "Wow, this is good,
that's the real deal now.
real deal, man." Now we play the session, and then I get paid. Then I go to like a place where they make the hair, the perm, and so I'm changing, buying leather pants, and it's like August and hot as hell. So I'm wearing the leather pants in the studios. Look different, getting ready for America, man. Oh man, I tell you. And then I called my boss after I got paid because I got paid more money than the time I worked for him.
Hmm.
Now I'm like, hey, I got like $1,000 or $2,000 that I had a problem going to catch the money at the bank first
Yeah.
off because I didn't have papers. I don't have a bank account. I mean, I'm from the township. So the bank called the police to say, "Hey, look, this guy, he's got the check, let's check him out. Where he's got this check." And then I see the bank, they close the door, and I'm like, "What the hell are they doing?" Then they ask, "Where you got this money?" "No, the money I got from Paul Simon. This the Paul, which Paul Simon?" And I tried to explain the musician,
Yeah, the Paul Simon.
the Paul Simon. Called the studio. "What studio?" Then I called the studio. The studio, they call, "Yeah, yeah, he's with Paul Simon. He got paid." Oh, they didn't have cameras then. That way they take pictures, selfies. Now they're like, "Okay, wow." They shake my hand. They give me the money. But also the money, everybody was waiting in the village. I mean, my mother was getting sick, so I had to like,
Mm.
money for my mother to get some medicine and try to change some couple of people, family, buying stuff.
Were you were you nervous at all going into those studio sessions, just given that you didn't know who Paul Simon was, you didn't really have a context of how massive that record would be probably at the time.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. But once we were in the studio, and because I got my fretless is doing the talking. Me, I'm quiet because I can't even speak the English, So I'm just there, just waiting to replace other guys. So now, very interesting things because the record companies in South Africa, they had their own musicians that they control. That when an artist from overseas comes in, they want to send their musicians because they want to have hands on,
Sure.
Yeah, take.
And they probably get a cut of that, right? Too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because they're gonna say, "Hey, look, you give us the check and we pay them whatever they deal with them."
Hmm.
And but some of those cats, they were okay, but I had to replace them because I had a good sound, and Paul just told me, "Hey, stick around, stay here." And now I'm staying in the hotel. I'm like, oh man, now I left township. This is it's my living. I'm staying in a hotel and I'm replacing bass players. They're like, no, we don't like the other guy who was playing. So can you come up with a part? Then I play to leave. And I just did that every track. And I end up, finishing some tracks in New York. And then the journey started, man. And I just kept going. But all started from the township and then see how much I was progressing because sometimes it's about you can't keep forcing things that doesn't work because if it doesn't work you're going to keep trying and it doesn't work. Why is not working? Something is wrong about this.
Sure.
So but for me it was working all the time because I never really talk about music. The only thing is like I sit in a corner in the dark when nobody sees me to distract me, and I just do my thing and practice
Hmm.
and hang out with the musicians. Everybody's drinking like crazy. Me, I'm like, get a beer bottle and then fill up with water, and I'm like, yeah,
Pretending, yeah.
yeah. But
Well, that's you remember that back in the day, you replaced the guy who was drinking, so you don't want to be that same guy.
now I learned from him. He was an example, like, oh no, that's a bad example. I want to stay focused on this, because also too, when you have something that you were given, like I play soccer too at home.
Hmm.
I was playing soccer just to get my legs and try to stay physical, healthy, strong. And my cousin played also, but he was more professional than me. But I knew that music was my thing.
Hmm.
But then I had to put a lot of work to make this happen without an instrument. Like, sometimes I tell kids, like I used to practice with a piece of cardboard.
Mm.
I cut, I cut the card box to look like a bass, and then practice the card box. Sing the bass lines and make sure that the fingering is right when I get the real bass. Now, when
Hmm.
you get the real bass, it's a different adjustment. Now, everything is it's not a card box now. It's so, but I wanted to do that, and I wanted to learn and not stop practicing just because I don't have a bass. I got to do something and learn, or just sing the bass lines if I don't have a bass or the card box.
Hmm.
Just hungry for the music. So and I stay with it, but paid off.
Yes, it did. And you've been on the road. I mean, you've played with Joan Baez, Cyndi Lauper, Tedeschi Trucks.
Yeah,
Um,
man, it was amazing playing with Derek Trucks and Susan. I remember when I went to Orlando Jackson to spend some time, like a week in their studio and just hang out with them, man. It's such an amazing people. And then the fact to play after my good friend Otil Burbridge. He's a phenomenal bass player.
mhm.
To learn some of the stuff that he played with Derek and everything, and then also his brother who's passed away, Kofi. It was a great thing, and then just learning about the Southern groove. I'm like, whoa, Southern groove. Just listen, and then Mickey Hart. Joined the Mickey Hart band, another college music. Just
Yeah.
learn about not playing the same song every time the same way.
Do you prefer the road or do you prefer studio or do you like them both for different reasons?
I like them both because they different challenges, different reasons, and first I'll start with the road.
Hmm.
The road it's great because you get a chance to see the place, the country, the city, and then go and play for the people. And if you're lucky enough, you have 2 or 3 days off. You start to know the place and the food and the culture. And it's about learning now and say to myself, wow, these people, they're gonna be coming to my concert. My bass has gotta be right, man. And I go to my sound guy, I said, you gotta pump me up, man. I met some couple of people here, they're coming to see me, so give me the bass. And you kind of really learn about the place, and I always like to buy a piece of that place and bring it home with me.
Hmm.
Like whether it's a ashtray or just something to say thank you for having me, to play in your city and dance for me, you know. And then studio is another thing too. Studio is about being a part of the project, not just come in as a session player like Bakithi Kumalo. I'm gonna do what I need to do, but it's to be a part of this, what they want, play what's needed. I'm about what's needed. The other stuff, it's a basement stuff. You go to the basement and practice as many notes, like 32 seconds of speed or whatever. But when you go and play for people, you want to make sure that they want to hear everything you play. you
And I'm
know
sure when you're hired for a session, I mean, you like I keep harping on, but it's worthy of harping. You have such a unique style of playing that if I was going to hire Bakita to come in and be in the studio, I would want you to be a part of that because you put in like alternate melodies, harmonics. You treat the bass a lot differently than like current style. You're just kind of staying in those bottom five frets and just be. But you really make it a greater expanse of the instrument. One of my favorite drummers of all time is Carter Beauford. We talked about the Dave Matthews Band, and the
Oh,
reason I loved him so much is because he turns the instrument into like he turns the drums into an instrument that takes up more than what just a rhythm does. And you have a very similar way of doing that. So how involved are you when you're hired in for a studio session to be a part of the writing and development of the track?
it's about really understanding. First of all, it starts with your sound. When your sound is complete, then you look at the songs and you listen to everything that's around the song, um, in order to really understand and perform well and know when you need to have spaces, when you need to overplay and everything, or when to slap, when not to slap. I read the song because the song is 5 minutes or 4 minutes long, so you want to make sure that each and every section of the song, it's not dropping, or you playing too many notes, but there's some other things that's happening, or the guitar is doing something nice, or the piano. You have to listen, and those things I've learned from playing with amazing people. Like when I played with Steve Gadd for like years, I think 20 years with Paul. I was always watching him and trying to have breakfast with him sometimes so I can learn more how much I can play, because he does some things that, the bass must have a certain way of playing. Instead of like, I'm doing the slapping and he's doing the hi-hats, it's like, chaotic. So it's like, you play simple, I'll do my thing, and then I'll keep it simple. You can do your thing, and I learned that way, and I learned how to play with David Garibaldi when we played with Mickey Hart. I mean, David Garibaldi is Tower of Power. I mean, like an amazing drummer, and to play with those guys, and then be on tour with Vinny, with Sting, and just watch those. It's just like really learning. But in the studio, you have to really think about other people, the singer. Somebody's singing. How can I help the story to be told?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how can I play the bass line that somebody can just walk singing the bass line and going home, and that makes me feel really good. Like that bass go to somebody's heart, and
Sure.
that's a good thing. Like at the show, I mean, I play the same bass lines I played on the Graceland. People, they love it. They love it because it's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So, and I try to get the right sound, and then sometimes sound changes because my oldest instrument is now old, so I have to get some other instruments that sounds similar to that, or maybe even nowadays, because it's all passive and active, and so you want to upgrade a little bit things, but every project is different. When I played with Herbie Hancock, I just think like a jazz bassist or fusion bass player. And then with Randy Brecker, same thing. Like, oh, this song I need a 6 string, that one I need a 4 string fretless. This, so I can
Mm-hmm.
have a band if it's 12 songs on a record, because
Sure.
that way I can, sound like a different bass players, but you're still gonna hear my stuff because I always throw something that's familiar.
Sure.
And
And
of course, this studio work, man, it's beautiful.
I mean, yeah, and again, it's such a pleasure. Uh, this is just such an amazing experience talking to you. You are listening to the Best in Craft live podcast. I'm Nick Marzock. We are with Bakithi Kumalo, and um, also, if you have questions, you're sitting at home and you have questions watching this, please submit them. I'm getting the questions fed to me through the Ultimate Ears guys. This is presented by Ultimate Ears and Blue Microphones. Um, and I want to talk to you about, music is obviously not only is what is that, first of all?
Oh, oh, this is one of the instruments also that I like to play when when I'm writing.
That is the sorry, I looked away for a second. I looked up and there was something from the future in the
Right,
frame.
right. That's where it came from the future, and it's called the aerophone. Roland had to do something with it, but because I grew up in a house where I had, listened to a lot of saxophone because of my uncle.
Hmm.
So and then I played saxophone a little bit, and but about a few years ago I saw this instrument and I said I gotta get this because it's the same fingering as the saxophone. It's just the electronics that has a lot of sounds. It would be good for the young people when you write the big band, the orchestra. This has all the orchestra stuff, from a trombone to euphonium to trumpet, everything.
Wow, but it plays like a saxophone?
Yes, the fingering is the saxophone. Of course, it's got the mouthpiece like the saxophone.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, please give us a sample of that. That's cool.
okay.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and you have a lot of sound. You have this one, which is my favorite. Let's see.
Uh, Hold on, I'm gonna go on Amazon right now. What's that called? I need one.
It's called aerophone.
That is the coolest thing, man.
But
And that plugs in. That plugs in like with a quarter-inch cable.
yeah, yeah, just like that. Uh,
What?
Cordial cable, and it's got all the Chinese, Indian. Mm. It's great when you're writing, like you're doing the soundtracks and you need all these sounds. This thing it's amazing.
Sure. And again, if you guys are listening, please type your questions in. Just comment them on either YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching this. We are here with Kumalo, who's demonstrating the coolest instrument that I've seen in a long time. Do you play that live?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You get tired of playing bass, and I and check. Oh, there's another beautiful sound from this instrument.
Ow. That thing is awesome, man. Uh,
It's amazing.
Um, and you talked a little bit about when you're writing soundtracks and stuff. I know you get to work on The Lion King, correct?
Yes, I played on the new movie Lion King,
Hmm.
and then also before that, a couple of years ago, I did a sitcom Life is Wild.
Oh yeah,
Um, then the gang related also,
the Tupac.
with Tupac.
Yeah,
And it was amazing working with also Mickey Hart because he wrote the music and I just play on some tracks with it.
was that a different? Did that feel like a different process for you going to the more soundtrack thing than what you were used to of the 4 to 5 minute tracks and
Yeah,
like a record?
it's a different ball game because it's not about just writing the music, but you have to watch the screen when somebody get out of the car and then close the door, there should be a certain sound, or somebody's closing the door, going out and walking out. You have like a certain rhythm. You can't play like a happy groove when somebody's mad. So
Sure.
it's another school. you know, because sometimes I write some stuff and then I send it back, and then the guy, the producer says, no, 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 this is too happy for for somebody who's mad. The wife, she's mad. She's leaving, so the song should be some, and then come back, and then I find the sadness. Okay, let's imagine it's me,
Yeah.
or so. Yeah, but it's a whole different challenge, but it's good, you know,
Yeah.
because we live to learn, and
Yeah.
learn to teach. Because what you learn, you can always give another person to learn. So
And speaking of that, I want to get into a couple of the things. I know music is a obviously your life, but it also you're connected to music in a way that I think a lot of Americans aren't. In that music is integrated in. Well, I guess it is integrated in our culture as well. But like dancing and traditional music, growing up in South Africa, I mean that is so much of life, and so your desire to give back is really strong. And I know you have a music mentor program out there in Pennsylvania where you are. Can you tell everybody about that program?
yes, the Bakithi Kumalo and music mentors. I've started about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, in Long Island. Me and a director from East End Arts, Pat Snyder and Diana. So they're like, hey, look, what can we do with the kids? And I said, it's very easy. You have the kids, so let's come up with a plan that we can send in newsletters to the schools and say, listen, borrow us your kids that they can play. Let them send us videos, the best videos of themselves practicing, playing stuff that they like. And then I will spend time and listen to those videos. And then we got about 22 kids sign up. So I had to pick now the kids that they can read music, because it's easy communication. When you give them the chat, they're going to read through, but they're going to struggle with the sound. That's when I come in and say, what, don't play when your sound is not right. You want to make sure that you get a good tone for your bass or your drums. You make sure you tune your drums. There's no pressure here. We're not music teachers,
Hmm.
we're mentors. I'm going to teach you the experience that I've learned, being traveling all over the world and working with some great people, you know. And so we did that with the kids, and I put the songs that they like together and take the drama. And amazing about these kids, they come from different schools,
Hmm.
so they don't know each other. So now when they get to the place where they have to play the song together, it was a drama in the beginning. But I said to them, hey, listen, the people that I play, I don't know them. I don't live with them. I don't know very much. But once we play one song, we know each other.
Yeah.
We become friends. But we can do that here. Let's focus on the music and not like, you from this school and your school beat us when we play lacrosse or basketball. None of that. Now music is peaceful. It's one piece. We
Yeah.
the therapy, and I said to them, listen, I'm here to learn from you too. Because two, they play me. Like one time there was this kid had a 7-string bass. And I said to him, man, how you play that? I've been playing for 50 years, and I 7-string bass. He says, yeah, Mr. Kumar, I'm tapping and I'm doing this. And then I watch him and I'm like, wow, I'm learning something new. But I said to him, now your 7-string, I think you're going to use only 3 strings on these songs, not the other ones. Take the 4 ones, you tape them, put the
Yeah.
tape, you know. So, and then I work with these kids. And then once we got like, 16 songs, then the East End Arts, they book us a show. They got us a place where we can perform, and the kids can raise money for their, for their books. They want their books. They don't have to ask the parents all the time, because I have my own kids.
Hmm.
Like if I'm gonna give them money for everything, they break the strings, and come on, you gotta get a gig. It's either I'm gonna get you a gig because I know how to do that. So, so then and I got these kids involved, and then some of them now they recording on their own, they doing some stuff, and they got the idea, because it's like, listen, you have to be free. You have to listen to your sound when you play your instrument. It's not about just learning the songs all the time. It's about electronics. Just think about the scientists to build this instrument.
Hmm.
They have so much that you can learn, but take your time. Do that at home. When you get home, just try to figure out what is your sound, what is your style. You're slapping, you fatten up the sound, you playing fingers, you playing solos, you thin up this, all these little things. And the kids, they got it. Now, my second one is the Lehigh University here in Pennsylvania. So we started November, last year, November. The kids, they submitted their videos, and then I watched the videos, and then I picked few kids. I think I got about 16, 17 kids. The little one, he's 10 years old, Gavin,
Wow.
and the oldest is 17 years old. He just turned 18. So and then I got those videos, and then we start the first rehearsal February after the NAM show. Then the governor told us that there was a COVID, the school's going to be closed and everything. So kind of direct everything. And I said to the kids, don't lose focus. Now you have computers at home, you have the phones that you can do videos, and we can do zooming. So we started to do a zooming,
Mm.
make these kids like, okay, which song you struggling about? I'm home now. So I got plenty time for you to help you. Let's continue with this, because once we finish out of this pandemic, we're gonna have to perform. So be
Hmm.
ready. And now this is a good time for you to clean up all the problems, the songs that is giving you problem. And if you don't understand, you call me. We'll work on this. So we did that for a while, for about uh, until, like, somewhere first week of May. And so I gave the kids a break. Like, look, okay, now record 2 songs. I'm gonna talk to my engineer. You guys, you can go to the studio. We're gonna start with the drama, since now everything is like, sorry, it's a visual
Hmm.
and social distancing. So you're gonna take the drama first and record all your drum part. Now I'm challenging him now,
Hmm.
so that he learns the songs. Now he knows the song, but I wanted to see if he knows the song without the band, everybody playing their part.
Sure.
And it got challenging for him, and so he went to record the drums. And my friend, who's a engineer, he says, man, it took him like 3 sessions to get it. And I said, that's the point. Nobody gets it the first time unless you're really, really good,
Yeah.
or you
And
really learn the stuff, you write it down or something.
as you described the program, that's the one thing I think that's really cool about it, is that it's not, you're not a music teacher per se, where you're teaching them X's and O's of what's music theory. This is a rest. This is a sharp. You're more teaching
That's
like,
already because they have the music teachers. So
yeah.
now what I'm teaching them, they can go home and then try to write it down. What Mr. Kumalo said was this. And
Hmm.
then they show me like, oh, and then I look at them, is that what I said? It's different. I'll play it. Hey, please. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'm gonna say that sounds good. I mean,
Yeah. And you're also teaching like how to gig, like what do you do when you show up for a show, like how to read charts, like things that are really applicable that kids
it's
might
about
not know.
and I tell them music is about life. You are responsible. Because you show up, you want to make sure that you show up early, because what happens if you try to tune your bass and you break the strings and then you're late? You got to start the show in the next 2 minutes. So
Hmm.
you show up early and get your space and understand. Sometimes I just make a joke like, hey, listen, you have to understand, you have to be earlier than the drummer, because drummer has got a lot of stuff to put together. So you might take the space and you're going to be squeezing in the corner, and the has got the long neck. You're kind of like struggling, and you're going to have excuses, you can't play. No, you show up at the gig early. That's what I do as a bass player. Then
Yeah.
I show up late, then I have a problem with the drummer. Man, can you please move over? Because
Your hi-hat is where I'm supposed to stand, sir.
like it's hitting my right hand every time I'm playing, and you're hitting me. So the kids, and I said, yeah, you show up at the gig early, and then you kind of run the songs, you get your sound without any pressure. And nowadays these amps, because now I gotta get my Phil Jones bass amps, also to make sure that the kids, they have the right tools. Because of my bass amps, you can plug in your headphones and your phone and practice and without anybody hearing you and get your tone, and then when the gig starts you have fun.
Yeah.
So everybody learn that, and then I have a musical director, the piano player. You work with the keyboard players, like, okay, look, this sound works better for this song, that song, and singers, and we teach them how to play dynamics. Like, when somebody's singing, you don't have to be like banging the cymbals. It's not a drum solo. We're gonna give you the drum solo. You like the drum solo? You wanna play the solo? No problem. We're gonna find the solo somewhere in the middle of the song. You take the drum solo, but just play like you are the clock. You are a click.
Yep.
The sing, tell the story, and so those things, and then the kids they get it, and two, you make it fun. You don't make it too nervous. The school is very direct. Look, you gotta read what's written. Play what's written.
Sure.
Us is like have fun, listen to your tone, enjoy, talk to the drummer as you're playing. You guys locked in and have fun. Just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And so you could find more about that at the gracelandexperience.com. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is your single that's coming out October 23rd.
Do you have a track to play now?
I do. I could pull it up if you want to talk about it. Do you want to give a sample of it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Tell everybody about the single. The song's called Electric Flow. I'm going to pull this up right now while you talk about it.
And Electric Flow, it came up this way, like talking to my people in South Africa. Sometimes they call me and then they hang up. And then I'm like, why they hang up? We got cut off. And then I call back and then they tell me, hey, look, I'm running out of airtime, and sometimes I don't have electricity where I am. And, I kind of keep hearing that all the time, over and over and over. I said, you know what? Let me come up with a groove, man. First the song, when I started the song, it was like a rap, and I was doing some Zulu rap, but I just didn't like what I was doing. And then I got this other girl singing Sia. And so we kind of built into that and sent it to my friend who plays saxophone. I said, give me some nice sax solo. And he took the song apart and he's like, listen, you're playing so many great bass lines that we can create a orchestra of saxophones and flute into this thing. And I said, man, go for it. And he changed the song, and it's beautiful, and it's all mastered, and it's beautiful.
I'm on with I'm trying to get the sharing enabled. Mark, if you could hear me, could you do that, please? Because I have this song pulled up. It really is a cool song, and what I love about it is it's fusion, but it has, you could tell the roots in traditional. It also has a very good R&B and almost hip hop kind of influence to it, which is very different.
When you hear the vocal part, but then my bass line, because I'm playing dum, singing ding ding, ding ding, go singing ding go, go singing ding go. That's the Zulu bass line.
Yeah.
Everything is like the hip hop. The drummer, Rodney Harris, is like a hip hop drummer, and the piano player. So it's all of that. It's what you go to the restaurant and eat. They say this is a fusion.
It's so cool, man. I'm gonna pull it up right now, and this is Electric Flow. Hopefully this works. That is Electric Flow. That is going to be, you know what, I'm going to fast forward to the end. I know this is just a preview. I don't want to give the whole thing away because people have to look forward to it. But I just want to go to this end because, man, it just cuts in and it's just gorgeous. man. You got some monsters on that session.
Yeah, man. This guy who's playing the saxophone is amazing. Maxfield Gast is unbelievable. And then a guitar player from Nigeria, Biodun Kuti. He was playing with us the last tour with Paul. And the piano player, he works with the Roots, the group Roots,
Yep.
and Rodney Harris on drums, and then I play a bunch of stuff, including this instrument aerophone
Hmm.
as synthesizer stuff, you know. But it's a great track, great
It,
track.
it it really is, man. It's so much fun. I was I've been listening to you on loop all week, and I've been listening to that song. It's just it's amazing, and I just love your whole energy of you're giving back. You want to teach kids music. You want to teach kids how to and how important music is. And I know one of the things you're very passionate about is keeping music in schools. Um, and that in American culture, it's kind of going by the wayside. Music programs are typically one of the first to be cut when a school's trying to save money. And I know you're an advocate for how important it is to have that in a child's life.
It's a sad thing, to see these programs leave the classroom because this is what the kids they get the comfort.
Hmm.
And I mean, if something like that saved my life without going to school, that's why for me it's important to be at schools and talk about these things. Like, hey, look, the bass, the music saved my life. Once I focus on music, it just helped me to understand life better. And
Hmm.
this is very important for the kids because music is all about the calculation. You have to understand it's like a GPS. You can't drive the car looking back and forth, and you're gonna hit the people in front of you. You know, when you play a song, like like when I was playing on tour, I mean, like I get so nervous before I go on stage and touch my bass. But once I touch my bass, I said, "Listen, see you at the end of this song," because I have to focus. I have to focus, and because it's a long song, so it really helps because you're counting, you're playing song in 9/8, and then the drummer is playing in 4. So you kind of like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to lose this, but I gotta listen to him. I mean, we need those programs. And then for me, I feel like what I've learned and the taste that I got traveling the world, I want these kids to experience,
Hmm.
especially for the kids that doesn't have, they want to be me, but they don't know how to do that. So I want those kids to come in and say, look, I want to study with him, and I don't have money, I don't have anything. Just come into the class, learn, and learn to be a teacher because the more you give, the better a lot of stuff comes in the next future. You know,
Sure.
because we need these kids. We had some amazing people like Miles Davis, Charlie Parker,
Hmm.
Coltrane, these legendary, and now they're gone, they left. It's another generation. So we have to always make sure that they come behind us. They get it. Yeah.
And the other thing that I love about like and that song highlights is and I think we need this a lot in America today. Music can bridge cultures, and in that song alone, I mean, there's so much jazz in that song. You could hear it immediately. But like I said, there's also R&B, there's hip hop, there are different uh, pieces that I think music can teach kids how to relate to other cultures. And that's something we're kind of forgetting nowadays.
Well, music is about is the language, is the food. When you mix it up, all these spices, and you come up with some good taste. And there was a time I had a band. I mean, I can still do this. I did a couple of times. I had a band called the Nations United.
Hmm.
I get musicians from different part of the world. I had a Cuban percussion player, and then I had a Brazilian drummer, and then I had the Uruguayan guitar player, and then I had a Japanese piano player, and then a South African
Wow.
bassist,
Hmm.
American pianist. So, but I said to them, send me your songs. I want to be a musical director. You send me all your songs, then I put it together and send it to the other people. We come up with a set list and the story about your country.
Hmm.
Because people they don't know Uruguay. Not too many people know about Uruguay. So when we play, at BB King, we play those songs from Uruguay. The guy can tell the story about where he comes from. It's beautiful
Hmm.
because it brings that corner of the world to the people right there. One night show, you know.
Hmm.
but it's very important. That's the piece that's missing. From people. Like to connect and not judge because of whatever the reason. We all here for a reason.
Hmm.
We have to share piece of pie and make sure that everybody gets everything that they need. There should be no person suffering for no reason. you
Hmm.
know and our schools is very important. Those teachers, they need to get paid. The nurses, they need to get take care of it so they can take care of lives. And the kids, they need to learn. And all that stuff, it's got to be cleaned up.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure I appropriately plug that. That is Electric Flow. That is a single. It's coming out October 23rd on Apple Store, on Spotify, wherever you stream your music. And that is a part of a greater collection. What you see is what you hear.
That's
That
right.
that you are tracking right now. I'm so excited to hear that. I love your style, man. You just have a wonderful taste, and you have monstrous players. Like I said, every single time somebody plays a note or a chord it's perfect. Like everything is perfect on that track. So
We get so many people on this project. I have a piano player from Kenya. He's playing a song that's like in five, and Jamie had playing percussion, and so we created something, and I had to add some fretless, and I think I got about five basses and an upright bass. You know, it's just what everybody's bringing. Sometimes to write songs on your own and using all the synthesizers and keyboard, there's no real life
mhm.
because you still need those people to play those songs. So, and I said to me, hey, listen, I can get those people to play, and everybody can do it at home. Send me the tracks and put it together.
Yeah.
But everybody's amazing on this project, and it's going to be
What
an amazing record.
I'm so excited to hear again. Electric Flow is coming out October 23rd on Spotify, Apple Music, CD Baby. I know you're going to be distributing it, and um, so excited for that. What advice do you give? Because I'm becoming an old man in in my years where I hear music today. It's just like they don't record like they used to. What advice do you give to like session players who are coming up? And I know you dwell a lot on the importance of listening, on really understanding what is supposed to go, all the ingredients and how they're going to work together. What advice do you give session players or people writing songs in today's climate?
Well, the advice is just be yourself and don't try to overdo it. Try to understand. When you get called to come to the studio, you know your assignment
Mhm.
to lay down as a bass player or either any instrument. When you get called to play your part, you play your part. And learn and be part of the project. Be part of that song so that you don't say, "Hey, look," when you hear it and say, "Man, I wish I play better," because that's too late. And just be yourself and be creative too. Always come up with some things and listen to other type of music in order to grow yourself. Like me, I listen to sometimes music without the bass so I can find the bass line.
Mhm.
And I just like all type of music, and I just respect and enjoy everything, but enjoy life most important. Play, have a good time, and you know take it to an.
Absolutely, man. Before we wrap up, can we get one more song on the bass? Again, I could listen to you play bass all day. And for more, you're on YouTube. You're all over that. If you want to keep hearing Bakithi play bass, and we just thank you so much for being a part of this today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor. I love ultimate ears. First of all,
Yes, sir.
when I got my ears, I was watching a movie. I mean, I've never heard a sound like that before. Sometimes you hear things different. So I was really scared, and I had to turn the movie off because it's like, man, I'm hearing some like spoon dropping somewhere. What the heck? But it's the sound that comes from this ears, man. It's unbelievable.
Yes, sir. And to continue with the shameless plugs, we are both also using Blue microphones. So,
Oh yeah,
uh,
it's the best. It's the best. Please get it. It's nice, especially when I play the percussion. takes everything that's around, and it's
Mhm.
clean and so present.
Yes, sir. And this thing is, this is absolutely shameless at this point. I take this with me everywhere. This is my little Yeti, plugs right in USB, and it sounds great. So, Ultimate Ears and Blue, as always, thank you so much for providing this podcast for everybody to enjoy. And Bakithi, why don't you take us out with another beautiful low tones
Well,
song?
this is a spiritual song, just to pray for everybody, and without words, you just pray however you pray. So this song is about, let's be one, let's, have life.
My brother. That is so awesome. Bakithi, thank you so much for joining us today. Uh, Everybody out there, thank you for listening. This has been the Best in Craft live video podcast brought to you by Ultimate Ears and Blue Microphones. Again, what was that?
Thank you, Ultimate Ears.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, Bakithi, for joining us. For more on Bakithi, you could go to thegracelandexperience.com. Are you on social media, Bakithi?
Yeah, but yeah, I'm somewhere, Facebook and all kinds of stuff. If they Google Bagir, he's all over the place. I
Well,
have
check
few,
him out.
but yeah, I'm all over.
Check him out on social media. Go to thegracelandexperience.com. And again, stay tuned for October 23rd when Electric Flow is released to all streaming platforms. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very